Having completed his washing, the suburban caveman is ready for his next adventure. He decides that maybe a spot of cooking is just the thing he needs to do. He inspects the cookbook, quizzically turns it around, and opens the first page. He decides that he probably doesn't need the instructions and gently discards the book. After all, how hard can cooking be? All that is needed to be done is to get the ingredients. How much ingredients and which ingredients is a bit of a mystery, but the caveman plows ahead fearlessly. A little bit of tomato maybe? Cucumber, why not? A little bit of corn on the cob, excellent. Whatever that is, cauliflower, onions, and meat, because it's special. Suddenly, he has a conundrum, and it is to do with the stock. He cannot take vegetable stock because he has meat, but he does not have chicken, so he cannot take the chicken stock. In the end, he had found some beef stock. Now what he has is lamb, but beef is meat, lamb is meat, that will do. The next step in the process is to do the cooking. He finds the chopping block, where he remembers it last was hidden, and clears the chopping area. Next, getting the groceries out of the bag and putting the bag away in a typical caveman fashion. He decides to use the slow cooker for this endeavor, and after blowing off the dust, diligently cleans it with his hand. He finds the chopping knife and then proceeds with chopping and preparing the meal. One would not say that chopping onions is the caveman's strong suit. Some people cry when they cut onions. Does not seem to be the case with the caveman. Mushrooms? Who needs to rinse mushrooms? The corn's packaging seems to be challenging, but the caveman surpasses this and succeeds in chopping up the corn. The next step in the process is to get the tomatoes in the mix. He unwraps the cauliflower and then discovers to his dismay it had seen better days. Still, he uses it. Next up is the meat preparation. He had gotten lamb chops, not an ideal meat for slow cooking, but he presses on regardless. It almost seems to the untrained eye as if the caveman has no idea what he's doing. He cuts up the asparagus, adds that into the mix as well. Opens up the stock, unceremoniously adds that in. And with that, the caveman only has to add the lentils. And the whole process, but for adding the water, is complete. He adds the water and then remembers that he had forgotten to add the cucumber. He gets the cucumber, chops it up according to size, he does struggle with this a bit. Adds it into the bowl. And finally gets the slow cooker started. Upon reflection, the caveman has decided that the meal does not contain enough meat. Problem is easily solved though when he gets spam. He cuts up the spam and adds that to the dish as well. To make it complete. One almost wants to quote Shakespeare and say, double, double, toil and trouble. This looks like an horrendous mix, but no doubt the caveman is happy with it and feels very sophisticated.